To the I Love CVille Show. Thank you kindly for joining us on a gorgeous and glorious Thursday here in downtown Charlottesville. Folks, our studio is on the downtown mall in Charlottesville, but our audience is Charlottesville-wide, Commonwealth-wide, country-wide, and legitimately worldwide, as I see IP addresses all over Africa on the I Love CVille Show today. And that makes my heart so happy, like so happy. All we're trying to do with this program is showcase the best of Charlottesville, Virginia. We champion the underdog, and we tell the stories of Charlottesville, a town that we love so, so dearly. And even more dearly with my wife and I raising our son, our 4.5-year-old, and a son that's coming on the near horizon due around Thanksgiving. It's made me more, I guess, softer, kinder, more in touch with my emotions. I don't know. Just love this town, guys.
Congrats.
Judah Wickower, if we can go to the studio camera, my friend, and let's welcome two gentlemen in this community that need absolutely no introduction. Tunji is the man. Zikki is the man. These guys are doing amazing things for people, and we're going to put it in perspective. Fellas, thank you kindly for joining us on this show. Good afternoon, fellas. How are you guys doing?
Doing very well. Thanks for having us.
Doing great,
This
Thanks
is
for having
incredible.
us, man.
An absolute pleasure. Tunji, like I said, you need no intro. Basketball, UVA, seen you around the downtown mall, seen you at ACAC. You're just an all-around stand-up guy. For the few that don't know you, can you please introduce yourself to the viewers and listeners?
Absolutely. So, again, thanks for having us on the show. My name is Tunji Soroye. I'm originally from Nigeria, but I think I can say I'm a Charlottesville native now. I went to UVA, finished my undergrad 2008, did like a master's program 2009. I was in the basketball team. After I graduated, I moved to DC for a couple years thinking I wanted a bigger city, but that was ended real fast, and then I moved back to Charlottesville, and it's been my home since then. So I think it's my second home from Nigeria now, for well.
Well, that's to our fortune.
Yeah.
For you.
I mean, I can say the same thing as well, because it's been, people here has been just family. Like I tell people, I'm the only one here, from Nigeria that came to the States. So growing up here, people have been very, very nice, and just took me in as one of them as well. It's been an incredible second home for me, for sure.
Viewers and listeners, you can give the fellas props by putting your comments in the feed, and I will relay it live on air. Zikki, you also need no introduction. Mr. Downtown Mall, Mr. Common House, Mr. Entrepreneur, stand-up guy. For the very few that don't know you, introduce yourself to the viewers and listeners.
Yes, just like Tunji, my name's Zikki Munyao, and I'm born and raised in Kenya. Came to Charlottesville back in '06. Also double who graduated from UVA with both my undergrad and my master's degrees. And in Charlottesville, been very, very lucky to have great networks. Started a couple nonprofits here in town, and continue providing to the community. And it's my pleasure to be working with Tunji on Just Help here. So this is a tremendous opportunity for us to showcase a lot of the things that we can do in Africa and what that means for the community here and community at large.
Nellie Florence watching the program, giving you some props. Travis Hackworth is watching in Danville. I see 8 states on the heat map and 3 countries currently watching the show as we speak. I'm going to get out of the way. Tunji, this show is all about you, man. Introduce us to the brand, the initiative, the effort. This is special.
It is very, very special to me, and Zikki can attest to this as well. What brought the initiative for Just Help was my experience, the way I grew up back home in Nigeria. Now, I tell people, I am very, very thankful. I've been privileged. I've been very, very lucky in my journey. But what happened was I went home last year for the first time in 15 years. My goal was to see my family. And also, basketball was something that transported me to the United States, and I wanted to help my small city, with that, maybe organize a tournament where, my thing was I haven't played basketball in 10 years, so I don't want to come and teach you basketball, but what I can do is you guys have been practicing all year. I can organize a tournament for you guys. You guys win some cash prizes. See what you need to work on with your game. Improve on that. Win some money to help you and your family. That was my goal when I was going home last year. But getting home, everything I went through as a kid just resurfaced. Now, again, I said I'm very lucky now, and I'm privileged, and I'm very thankful. And I don't take any of it for granted. But when I was growing up as a kid, I lost my dad at a very young age. I was the oldest, and because of my height, even though I was 10, I looked like I was 15 years old. So I was that kid that I was going out. Now, at 10, 11 years old, every morning, 5 a.m. or so, you get up and go look for water. Now, there's no particular place that you're going to. There's no destination. You're just going scouting for water. That's what I did every morning, 5 a.m. I went home last year, and I didn't forget, but I guess if you haven't been somewhere for 15 years, you kind of get sidetracked. You have family, you have your job and all that stuff. You get sidetracked. And then the same thing came back. Everything I went through as a kid came back. I was seeing kids doing the same thing I was doing 5 years ago before they go to school, and that's what prompted the idea of Just Help. I came back to the States. I was home. I was very happy to see my family, to see my friends, to help with basketball. But honestly, I was very emotional the whole time I was back in Nigeria because of what I was seeing. I think in so many occasions I ended up just parking my car somewhere and just helping family out. Okay, you know what? Go buy water so that your kids can go to school. Don't have to worry about water today. So I came back to the States and I was like, I think I can do more, because if you think about how developed America is compared to Africa, a little here goes a very, very long way back home. For example, I gave a lady $8 worth of our money, and she had 3 kids. This lady was thanking me, telling me this was going to feed her family for 3 days. And then she came back the next day at the stadium where I was holding the tournament, out of that money, took transportation money out of that money to come thank me. I was like, lady, feed your family. You don't need to come thank me the next day out of something that you don't have. So I came back and I was like, we can do a lot more. Now, I can't help everybody, but if I can help these rural areas with water, like I went through as a kid, I think that would take so much struggle out of their daily routine. Yeah. It would do 3 things right off the bat for me. I think the water part, it would take the struggle away, for one. Secondly, when I was growing up, there's a disease called cholera that you get from water. I get those every 6 weeks, monthly sometimes, because you drink bad water.
Crazy.
When I remember about 11 or so, I went in. When you fetch this water, it's either the brown or kind of green.
You're drinking brown or green water?
No, you're not drinking it. You have to boil them.
Okay.
You have to boil them, or let them sit for a little bit. Now, I went out one day and I was lucky. I got a water. It was this color. So I'm thinking, I'm not boiling this. So we didn't have power. So we have this clay pot that our thing is you pour water in, you put it in a very cool, dark spot, it gets cold. Because we didn't have power, we didn't have fridge. So that's our cold water. So I didn't boil this water. I just went ahead because it was clean. Eye test, it was clean. So I went and poured the water in the pot. A couple hours later, I went back. I tested this water. This was about 20, 25 years ago. And I can still feel the bitter taste today. Now, as soon as I put it in my mouth, I spit it out. But a little bit went in. And I was sick for 7 days.
Good night.
Oof.
Throwing up, the rest kind of thing. So my initiative for this well that I'm trying to do for this rural community is going to help the struggles, for one. The way we're going to build it is going to be filtered, it's going to be powered by solar, and it's going to be healthy to drink. It's going to be clean water. So people who don't have, it will help eliminate some cholera diseases, especially with kids. Yeah. And then thirdly, at the beginning stage anyways, we're going to go with local contractors to help build that, to build the economy in that area as well. So I think 3 things right away that this world is going to do are those. And then another thing I really want to focus on is going to these primary schools and tell them my story. Like, now, I was one of them 20-something years ago. And if you have told me I would be here today, I would have called you real crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
Madness.
I'm going to go, my thing is to go to one of these public schools that have nothing at all, help the kids with whatever it is that they might need, items, school materials, even if it's bag, if it's rubber shoes that we do. But the big thing is for me to tell them my story, to give them a little hope. Like, listen, you might not have much right now. You might be going through stuff, right? You don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow, how you're going to feed yourself tomorrow. But I'm a true testament. I was in your shoes 20-something years ago, and I'm here. You have a better chance because the world is evolving. You know, I'm giving them some kind of a beacon of hope. Yeah. Like, if I can do it and get to this stage, you can even do better because of the way the world is progressing right now. Mm-hmm. You know, so I came back to the States, and I was like, when I was thinking about the initiative, I decided to call it Just Help. And there is no complication to that name. It's just what we want to do. We want to just help give these kids, these families, these areas, a beacon of hope. Make their life a little more tolerable. Give them maybe good health through water. Yeah. We just want to help. Like, if somebody comes to me, what does Just Help mean? I'm going to tell them what it says is what it means. We just really want to help a little by little. Because if 25 years ago or whatever, if somebody had told me, give me this kind of inspiration, it would have gone a long way.
Yeah.
I remember myself as a kid, we didn't have anything. So I couldn't even think about what tomorrow is going to be like, what next week is going to be like. There was no, there was no example. You know what I mean? We were just, living our life day by day kind of thing, So I think giving these kids just a little bit of something to keep them in school, and then also tell my story will go a very, very long way.
Oh, for sure.
And then it just says the name again, Just Help. Is what we want to do. We just want to try to help these communities, these kids, these rural areas as much as we can.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. You crushed that. Dude's going off for a triple-double right now. You crushed that. Zikki, can we get you in the mix? You're a board member. Your time is valuable. You know this as well as anyone. Why offer the time to this initiative?
Oh, first of all, Tunji and I are great friends. Right? We've been friends for years, and we talk about a lot of things. But when he came to me and said, hey, I just got back from Nigeria, and what I've seen, I need to help. I was like, all right, tell me what you need, man. And based on all the things up to that time that we had done with the nonprofits, like CVille Gives here, kind of, raising money for the local community. And then we had the nonprofit that was benefiting students in Kenya, providing them literacy. I was like, I've done this before. I've seen it work. I've seen the impact. I think we can do it together, right? And regardless of how much bandwidth or how much time this requires, whichever way possible, we'll put it together in a way that not only will it save us some money, but it will get the true impact that it deserves. Yeah. So what happened is Tunji and I found time on a weekday and sat down at the Common House and started this organization at the Common House together. Yeah. And he was explaining to me like all these stories. He was sharing some pictures. I was like, you don't have to pay a lawyer all this money to start a nonprofit. We can do it right here based on the experience of the things that we've done in previous organizations. So we started it. And from that point on, I am, in many ways, his right hand in getting this organization to successfully deliver the impact that we're looking for and also engaging the community in the best way possible. So for me, it's a pleasure working with a good friend of mine, and it's also like an opportunity for me to learn from communities in West Africa, being that I'm East African, I'm always curious to find out, how can we help the communities in Africa. So it's also a passion project, and I'm looking forward to helping in whichever way possible.
Love it. Ashley Palmer watching the program, Jessica Alkina, Joe Duquette. Man, if I'm going to mess up some names, guys, I apologize here. We got a gentleman by the name of Zikki, can you help me with this name right here?
That's a Nigerian name.
Is it a Nigerian name?
We got Nigeria is
How's it
all
spelled?
over the show right now.
How's it spelled?
It's this is I know this is far here. I don't want to mess
Yeah.
anyone's names up
Here.
over
Let me
here.
see, let me see.
Here.
Where is it? Which one is it?
The first one.
Viewers and listeners, you can give your props live on air.
Akonde?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's he's Yoruba, so he's from my tribe.
Yeah.
We got
Akonde.
the heat map, as I scroll over to the heat map over here, shows 8 countries on the show right now. This is the power of social media when used for the good. Olivia Branch, what a rock star lineup. Incredible men doing incredible things. James Watson, Rob Craig, Scott
Awesome.
Aaronworth, the king of Virginia Beach, Scott Thorpe, much of the University of Virginia on the broadcast right now. You, the viewers and listeners, can ask questions and give these men props. I'd love for you to put in very straightforward fashion the plight or the challenge, and you've done this already, but even more, please, of 10-year-old Tunji, uncertain about the world.
Yeah.
His father passed away. You, like you said before the show, privileged because the skill and talents of basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you did not have the skill and talents of basketball, would you would not be here in Charlottesville?
Not even close.
Right.
Right?
Not even close.
Okay.
Yeah.
So put this in perspective here, because I can already tell you understand the level of fortune.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I'll look at her someday. I was like, you are so lucky. You know, like you get to eat what you want. You know, you get to choose what you want to do. Like we didn't have that options. Like imagine sending your 10-year-old kid 5 a.m. in the morning with no shoes, by the way, in the dark to go look for water. There's no particular place that you're going. Like I like parents to like just imagine that you have a 10-year-old in the house. Like you're gonna wake him up at 5 a.m. in the morning. First of all, if I wake up my daughter at 7 a.m. in the morning, she's giving me her, all kind of crazy about that. Like, but that's for her to get ready for school. Imagine waking her up to be like, hey, just go out.
That's pressure.
Just go out, go look for water for us to use. That's what my life was. When I came to the States, people that asked me about my story, everything was a surprise for me. Like from the way I grew up, from the things that were around me, everything was a shock. Like, I mean, I came from where I was fetching brown water from dirty wells to coming to a house where I could choose if I want warm water or cold water to shower with. And what I mean, there was light 24/7. Funny story. I mean, people will laugh at me. I didn't use laundry machine for 6 months because I didn't believe it was
in the U.S.
Yeah.
Because you felt guilty?
No, because I didn't believe it was going to wash my clothes better than my hands.
Really?
No.
So this is first year at UVA?
Yeah, it's first year in high school in D.C.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Montrose Christian High School.
Right.
Like, so my dirty clothes, I would go to the sink and wash them with my hands.
That's what
And
you
then
used
one
to.
of the guardians saw me and was like, what are you doing? We have a machine. I was like, it's not going to wash my clothes clean. I was like, my hands. It's like, everything was that shocking to me. Like, even the roads, when I got out of the plane and I saw how wide, how clean the roads were, and then I went home last year and it was totally opposite. So I am so thankful. It's I don't know how to put it in words, But again, I'm very thankful. I'm very privileged. I'm going to try to. This is so dear to my heart. Again, the schools that we're trying to maybe talk to for our first project, kids are about 700. I think if we go speak to these kids and we get about 40% of them to have this information sink in them, I think we've done our job. I think to give them a hope, because to be honest, not everybody's going to take it.
Yeah.
But if 20, 30, 40% of these kids take it and do good with it, I think we've done our job, and that's all we can do. But I wouldn't stop until I do that first project. It's so dear to my heart. I think it would touch so many lives. And I'm looking forward to it, man. You know, really looking forward to it.
Scott Hamler giving you props. We love you, Scott. NBC 29 is not the same without you, Scott Hamler. Sandra Kemama giving you props.
That's family.
You got Megan Gum giving you props. Danny Chamor giving you props.
Cheers.
Significant people on the feed here. Zikki.
Yeah.
Anywhere you want to go here. Water, clean water. Americans, folks, we take it for granted. I wake up, I have the benefit, as you said, of hot and cold anytime I want. Privilege is an understatement, what we have in this country. We're getting a taste of it through national and global media with the Ukrainian and Russian war. But this isn't even, I would say, even like the true reality of everyday life that, Tunji, you grew up with, where you're waking up at 5 in the morning and you're being asked to find water for your family. And as you said, without shoes on?
Without shoes on. I had one shoe the whole year.
He had one shoe the whole
I
year?
had to be very, very smart about how I use it.
Yeah, like the one pair of shoes that you got, right?
That's my church shoe.
Yeah.
That's my school shoes. That's my party shoes if there's any party that I want to go to.
I mean, folks, are we hearing this? Anywhere you want to go. Zikki, show is yours.
Yeah, so this summer we're in Kenya. And in Kenya, the problem that is in Nigeria that Tunji is mentioning, similar issue in Kenya. So we farm in rural Kenya, about 2 hours east of Nairobi. And on the drive, once you get off the main road, now driving home, you will see every day kids with jerry cans, and most of them are like 20 liters, going to fetch water. You'll find them on donkeys. You'll find them in these carts that are pulled by oxen, right? You know, jerry cans of water. And these kids are going a long distance. So that's how they spend most of their weekends. That's how it's a big problem, right? And in these communities, without water, obviously, there's very little that you can do. So it's a big necessity. So we too had to buy some water for the farm. You know, like it's an issue that can be combated if we have the right resources. Now we live close to a river. This river can provide water, which the infrastructure is there in this particular rural area, to 35,000 people, right? But then the bill to cover the electricity cost to do that is about $12,000 a month. So obviously the resources are not quite there to continue supporting these types of projects. So Tunji's issue that we're trying to resolve with Just Help is something that is seen in most of Africa. And if we can get water to students, to the communities, to the villages, you know, it helps the community in so many ways, you know, better education, you know, better health and sanitation, you know, everything that we use water for. Imagine if you're a family of 3, right? Like you and your family, and you only have this 20-liter jerry can in a day.
Yeah.
You're limited to that for your showering, for your drinking water, for your cooking water, for washing your clothes. That's all you have. Think about how sparingly you're going to use this water. You know, you have to boil the water for your consumption. You know, you have to cook with it, but you can't cook too much because you also want to preserve some water for drinking. You want to be able to clean yourself in the morning because you don't want to be the person at work that's not, you know,
smelly person.
Yeah, you don't want to be smelly out there. So I mean, there's a lot of things, but then when you put it to reality that that's how much water you have, and you may not be able to afford the next jerry can of water, then it becomes a real issue. But then if you have a resource that is coming in and helping you build a well, in a community, a well is so empowering because now you know that you can have that jerry can every day, and this community is supporting each other to continue with the water supply. And when you have organizations like Just Help, then you're able to do that and multiply it because you have the support from the local community to then scale this operation. So when you scale an operation like this, it's not like a company that's making profits. This is you directly impacting communities in places that really need things like water.
Yeah.
Phenomenal answer.
Yeah.
Jump in here.
I mean, great. I mean, so what he's saying is, I mean, I couldn't even say it any better. The way I'm going to, like, the way I plan to do this is to do something that's going to last, that's going to be sustainable, and that's going to be clean and healthy for the community. Because there's no point just digging another well that's going to be contaminated in a month or two. You know, then what we're doing, our goal is just, at that point, there's no goal. You know, because what you have to understand, these areas, they have so many other things going on. If you build something, for example, you build a well that's opened up, people will come with buckets from their bathrooms, from their toilets, and dip in that water. That will get contaminated. And all our work is like back to square one again. So my goal is, done some research, my goal is to build a closed off well. It's going to be filtered. People can actually, and I'm going to be there on the first project, the first 5 projects, I'm going to be there in person. I'm going to drink out of this thing just to show people that this is safe. You know, it's going to be filtered and it's going to be powered by solar. Because that's just where just the world is going right now. I think if you, and I know Africa, I'm from there, if you could build a well that people have to go pump, I bet you there'll be kids jumping on that thing. 2 weeks later, it's broken.
Yep.
You know, so why do that? You know, do something where people don't have to maintain, maybe more than once or twice a year. It's going to be filtered. They can go out there and just get water and drink. Now, every time I start thinking about this project, I start envisioning what it's going to do. It always takes me back to my time growing up.
Yeah.
Because I can't even tell you how many times I'm coming back from school, and instead of me worrying about my homework or how I'm going to help my mom, what's on my brain is, we need clean water. And I will carry that until I get that water. That is not even clean, that we have to boil and all that. You know, so every time I envision what it's going to do for family, it takes me back to what I went through as a kid and how much impact it's going to have in these people's lives. Okay, the struggle, we are all human beings. We all have daily struggles that we're going to go through. But one thing we can try to control a little bit is not get sick. It's not get sick. I can remember vividly from that. I mean, I got sick a bunch of times, but I can remember vividly from that water that I drank that I was sick for 7 days. And I can still feel that. I know what it tastes like. If somebody gives me that water today, I'll be able to tell you exactly what it tastes like. You know, so I think the biggest thing out of this for me is we can make this water healthy for kids, the most part. I think that will go a very, very long way.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that it's going to take away that everyday thinking, where am I going to get water from? They can also, I mean, these people are already going through a lot of stuff. They can take that out of their daily routine and focus on some other things that can help the community, their family, that area as well.
How did fatherhood and being, welcoming your 6-year-old daughter and watching her grow and mature, how has that motivated you with this effort?
Oh, huge, man. And I tell my family back home too. I mean, we get on the call and we make fun of her because they know what I went through and my siblings went through and all that. You know, for example, my mom came. My mom came when I had her about 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago or so. And then she was just, again, like I was shocked when I first came to the States. She was shocked by everything too. Like a couple of times I had to go help her adjust the water because it might be too hot or it might be too cold. She wasn't used to that kind of stuff. So I tell my daughter I have to take them home at some point. COVID and all that, when everything is clear. I think it's a good experience, just even though for my daughter, like when I was in college, I used to get mad at folks for complaining about stuff that they don't have.
First world problems.
Oh, yeah. That's what, exactly.
And it took me a while to just understand they just don't know any better. This is all they've known.
We don't know any better.
I shouldn't judge them for that. So I tell people, like, just for your own personal growth, to have a perspective in life because I think just go to Africa. Then don't go to the pretty Africa. Go to Africa and just for like 5-6 days. I think you will come back a different person, different mentality, different perspective.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
For sure.
And with just help, my goal is, after we do like a couple projects and we have a very solid foundation, I want to try to take somebody locally from here to come with us and help tell the story and help see what we're seeing.
Yeah.
I think that would be very, very influential and powerful,
Very powerful.
With our plan as well. But again, to answer your question, I'm just thankful. I'm very privileged and very, very thankful for where life has taken me, my journey so far with my family, and just I'm thankful for them too. It's not like that all over the world. It's not even close.
It's not.
Not even close at all. But yeah.
No, but think about it. Like, I have a 10-year-old son. Now imagine 5 a.m. he wakes up. Tunji's story. Still true story till today.
Yeah.
5 a.m. wakes up, walks 3 miles to find the closest water. Fills this 20-liter jerry can. That's 20 kilograms.
Put it on your head, by the way.
Right? Carry it on your head, or you put a rope around it and, kind of pull it up this way.
Yep.
Then you walk back 3 miles to your house. You drop the water off. You still haven't had a sip unless you picked, you kind of took some on your way back.
Yeah.
Then you walk another 3 miles to school, where you're going to spend all day with very little water, if any. And not much food, because again, that's another scarcity, but that's another problem to solve a different day.
Sure.
Right? Then you walk back again that evening, right? So you've walked a lot just in this one day, no shoes. Temperatures in Africa most times are very hot. You're walking on dusty roads, and there's all these, like more recently, there's a lot of guys on these motorcycles that are providing transportation. Add another risk on top of, just walking home casually. By the time you get home after this entire day, you have homework, which you must do. You don't have textbooks, different problem to take care of at different time. And your parents may not necessarily have had the education that they can help you with your homework. So now you have to figure it all out. You have the one pencil, different problem for different time, to do this homework. And then you'll be in bed after having the little dinner that your parents can provide to you early. Because guess what? The next day you have to do it all over again.
All over again.
You're 10.
All over again. What I went through is shaped me to be the person I am today, and I'm very thankful to my mom and everything. But I didn't have like the normal, okay, you come back from school, you do your homework, you go play with your friends. I didn't have that.
Did you know in the moment that it was difficult, or this is not how maybe it should be?
Now, I've seen in the moment, because I was in the neighborhood where that's what everybody was doing. Mm-hmm. Now,
so it's the norm.
Oh, it's a norm. That's what I'm saying. It was a norm. Because we've seen or heard about families that are well-to-do, they have wells in their house and all that stuff. We hear about them, but to us at the time, it was a norm. That's what you just got to do.
Yeah.
And for my family, it was different, because most of my friends have siblings that kind of share responsibilities. I was the oldest, so I have to do most of the stuff by myself, So like the normal childhood where you come back, you do your homework, and then you go watch TV or whatever. I didn't have that. It was a routine where I have to worry about school, I have to worry about water, I have to help my mom. And when I started playing basketball, I just went nuts, because my mom she didn't give up basketball. She had to take care of the family. Mm-hmm. So I used to sneak out of the house early in the morning. I used to steal her money for transportation. Sometimes if she doesn't have, I would walk miles to go practice and come back. So everything I've went through, it's shaped me to what I am today, and I'm very, very thankful for it. But again, it wasn't the norm. It wasn't the same thing that. It was just the norm. It was the norm at the time. Mm-hmm. It was, you had to do it. You had to do it. And the sad thing for me, maybe not sad, because I turned out pretty okay, I'll say.
No, you're a great guy, man. For sure.
When you see these kids, though, when I saw these kids back home last year, I tell people, like, people think I don't cry, like, tears don't come out, but I was emotional the whole time. Like, the whole freaking time I was back home. Like, you get to a point where I didn't even, besides the tournament and see my family, I just stayed indoors. because I didn't want to have to see the same thing again.
Yeah.
So and that lady was a huge testament too. Like when I did like the tournament that I did, UVA helped a lot, by the way, with that. They gave me a bunch of stuff, shoes, bags, basketballs for the tournament. We had like this carry-on bags that was from the championship year. That was a hit back home in Nigeria. So I gave those to a bunch of people. I mean, I'm telling you, my age group for the tournament was about, I think, 15 to about 19, 20. I was seeing older ladies like 20, 30 miles away from where I had the tournament wearing my T-shirt.
No way.
And carrying water on their head.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
So just a T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So, it's... I every time I talk about it, I start getting emotional again, so I have to cut myself off a little bit. But, I'm glad Zikki is on the board because he's had some experience with this. I think we'll work well together. We try to do as much as we can to help. As much as we can.
What's it like when you went home to Nigeria, the response? I mean,
it was incredible.
Celebrity status here?
Yeah, kind of. But first of all, like, you have to think about, so in my heart experience, I really think, and this is my opinion, I really think America is like the best country in the world.
Why you say that?
Because of the structure. Like, I tell people, like, maybe I shouldn't say this, but if you're not a lazy human being, you can make to do in America.
Yes.
You can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you're not a lazy human
believe
being.
that.
If you have inspirations, if you have opinion, if you have a goal, if you have any kind of idea, you can exploit those ideas. America gives you that chance to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think too many countries in the world, no matter how great they are, give you the chance to do that.
True.
Okay, so if I'm thinking America is number one, Nigeria is like maybe 100. You have to, the level of the difference is just so huge where everybody wants to come to America and Nigeria because they think it's the land of opportunity. Everybody wants to come here from Africa. So when I go back home, the fact that you live in America, you get respect for that. So I wouldn't say celebrity status, but for a long time I was the tallest guy in my city. So people knew me when I started playing basketball. So going back home was like a homecoming, like he's back in town kind of thing, So I wouldn't say celebrity, but they definitely know me.
How difficult, question for both you guys, how difficult is it to go from Africa, Nigeria to America? And
The first time?
Just if someone has a dream of going from Africa and living in America, how hard is that? Put that in perspective. I legitimately, gentlemen, have no conception.
If they want to move from Africa to come live in America?
Yeah.
Well, for the first time, I'll tell you what, there's going to be now.
And how about this? If you don't have basketball talent.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a whole other challenge.
Right. No basketball talent. We're talking 5'8" me. Right? No basketball talent. Wants to go from Africa to America. Is it realistic?
It is realistic, but I think what gets that person ready, depending on how they grew up in Africa, is they probably seen the worst. So America is going to be an adjustment for sure, but it's going to be a lot of getting used to stuff. It's going to be a lot of culture change, culture shock that they have to go through. But I think especially for somebody like me, I think I've been through the worst situations you can think of. So you can only go high from there. It's just a matter of me adjusting to the culture, to the rules, to the people, to the language, to the food, and all that stuff. It will be easy, but again, now if you are one of those very, very rich kids from Africa where you go to Europe you have everything that you want, and you go to Europe for vacation and all that stuff, you might come here and start being judgmental, like, it's not like how I want it or that. But for somebody like me that been through the worst part of stuff, it's just getting used. It's just being thankful for one and adjusting. It took me a while to adjust. I mean, we didn't have much. I can remember nights where we ate once a day. And when I came here, the food was one of the first things I complained about. I'm a foodie. I cook a lot. I love good food
Good
and
cook.
all that
He's a
stuff.
good cook, for
We'll
sure.
see you in the restaurant.
You
No,
know?
we'll see you in the restaurant locally.
So when I came here, one of the things I complained about was the food.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't have that much back home, I was like, I don't know, this food here, I don't know. America's supposed to be that great country, So it's just adjusting, man. It's just adjusting to the people, to the culture. You got to be thankful too, man.
Yeah.
It's a different life. It's a different
Same question.
Yeah.
How about even financially?
Yeah, so financially it's tough. So say you even come from a middle class family and you have a fundraiser before you leave the country, so that way at least you have enough money to take you through the first year. When you get here, you have to first find a place to live. So let's say you come in on a student visa, and your student visa allows for you to do everything but work. So you can't work, right? With an F1 visa, you'll have to figure out a way to make money. So you have this kind of pocket change that people have gone out of their way to raise money for you to come and succeed in America, but it's only good for just a few months. What they consider to be enough for 1 year, as an example, if you're looking at a meal and you're used to buying food in a restaurant back home, the restaurant food you can eat very easily with like $1-2, right? Over here you go to KFC as an example, right? And your cheapest meal is probably going to be like $3-4, right? Like just enough to get you through that one meal. You have to then multiply that by 3. Whereas now that is now translating to multiple meals based on what the fundraiser gave you. You're running out of money pretty fast. So you have rent, you have food, you have everything else to just basically cover you while you're going to school. So you start stressing about that.
Yeah.
And when you start stressing about that, the next thing that falls through is your schooling, because you cannot quite perform, because now you're trying to think of a way to keep yourself going. So you drop out of school and you start a job. You're taking a blue-collar job. You are going to be based on where you're living, doing anything from farming to truck driving to whatever it is that someone makes available to you, knowing that you can't work in America. You don't have a work visa. So you're working essentially under the covers here to get your livelihood going. So by the time you find a way to get the job going, to sustain yourself, and then now you're thinking about going back to school, will take you years. Now back home, everyone thinks that since you're already in America, you're making all the money, right? So now they're expecting you to start sending some money home. So now you start getting dependents back home.
Yeah.
You're not making enough money to sustain yourself. You're living with roommates. You're barely eating 3 meals a day because you're working probably multiple jobs. And you have to sustain, sending some money home because your family needs you. So what happens is you're caught in all these things that are required, at least for you to sustain your life, and never really meet the goal that brought you here, which is education.
Yeah.
So that's a usual challenge. But then you also have the other side where you say, I'm going to live as frugal as possible and get through the education. And once you get through the education, let's say you do get an associate's
This is what you
degree.
did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but luckily for me, my story is slightly different in that I come from a middle-class family in Kenya, so I was able to kind of maneuver through things in a much more smoother way. But from what I've seen with my peers and others in the diaspora here, the stories are very much similar to what Tunji is saying and what I've experienced too. If you take that frugal way and make it through college, and let's say in your second year you get some type of scholarship, some type of support in school, and school gives you some job that can help you through, and you graduate, then now you'll find a lot of Africans in Silicon Valley, a lot of Africans, taking a lot of the white-collar jobs because you come here with that motivation and that kind of zest, to go in there and be able to perform. And you grow in the community, your local community here, and you still support the folks back home and can succeed. So there's these two paths, but each person then is different. And each situation also has this level of luck that has to kind of fall your way. So yes, there's the culture change and everything that Tunji has mentioned, but America can be the land of opportunity, and it could also be like a very difficult place to live if you don't have the right support systems.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is the University of Virginia brand known in East and West Africa?
Well, so like when I'm in Kenya, for example, and I'm wearing like my UVA hat, you hear like an American somewhere say something like wahoo wah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, you know what that is. But no. It's not that. It's not that big.
So when you said it was Montrose Christian?
Montrose Christian.
When you came to Montrose Christian and then eventually University of Virginia to play hoops, what were folks thinking in Nigeria that you were doing? I mean, were they just thinking like he's going to go play basketball? Did they know? Did they have any idea what was going? I mean, because this was no easy road here.
Oh no, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I think the first thing was he got out of Nigeria. That was the first thing that he got out of Nigeria.
So they're giving you props.
Oh yeah.
Or was it jealousy? Or was it all the above?
Probably all of the above, if you will, because some people everybody wants to live out. Everyone wants to leave Nigeria. Everyone wants to leave Africa and come to the States, you know. So probably jealousy, envy. I wish that was me kind of thing. Oh my God, he's so lucky. Or good for him kind of thing. So I would say all of the above for sure.
Yeah.
Again, that's the pedestal. That's everybody wants to leave. America is that first country everybody wants to go to from Africa. And then if that doesn't work out, they think about London, Europe, and all that.
Australia
kind of
now.
Australia now, you
Yeah.
know. So, but the situation there is just so bad with people and they've heard so many stories. Again, like Zikki said, they don't know what you have to go through there. Like people still think I have a tree in my backyard that just gives me money. You know, they think I just go back in and just pluck money and send it to them. You know, what helps with that is
This guy's busted his ass, though. Yeah. I want everybody that's watching the program to know that. He's busted his tail. Okay.
I've done, yeah. But I think what helps with that is the currency difference as well. You know,
what do you mean?
The exchange rate.
Exchange rate. Is like I said, that lady I gave $8 to that came back and told me she had 3 kids that was going to feed them 3 days. You know, that's why. When I'm telling people about this, a little here goes a very, very long way back in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You know, you can send a kid to college, to a reasonable college under $2,000, you know, a year kind of thing. You know, so the currency here has more value back home in Nigeria. That helps financially
for sure
as well. Yeah.
So, gentlemen, gosh, there's a lot of people watching this show here. How do we help? How do we volunteer? How do we donate? We're spreading the word and the brand now. How do we help?
Good question. So our website is called justhelpafrica.org. Justhelpafrica.org. If you go on that, it will give you our background, our story, our goals, what we want to do. There's a donate button on that on the website that you can click and donate. We take all forms of donations. Also, we are a 501c3 organization. Thanks to Zikki for that. It really helped.
Teamwork,
with that
man.
one.
Teamwork.
But yeah, we want to make the process as easy as possible for everybody. And if people have questions as well, I'm very open to the process. Zikki is very as
for
well. JR, who's another member of our team, is
JR
also,
Hadley,
is also
great guy.
available.
Yeah.
You know, you can reach out to us personally if you want. I'll tell people I'm open to meeting them and telling them my story, telling them the process, whatever they want to do. You know, but the big thing is we want to create awareness for Just Help. We are starting in Nigeria, and namely Just Help Africa, because we want to touch as many countries as possible in Africa. I was talking to Zikki on the way here today, like if we do the first couple projects in Nigeria, I want to go to Kenya and try to do the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then go to other countries and do the same thing, because this problem is, I mean, give you a perspective. Chris Long, which is a very good friend of mine, went to UVA together. I'm also in conversation with his, Water Boys organization. I saw something on Instagram about 3 weeks ago. He's helping, I think he dug a well somewhere in Virginia in the United States.
Yes.
I'll give you a perspective. If America, who I think is the #1 country in the world in structure and everything, still needs water in some communities, imagine what Africa needs.
Yeah.
Well said.
Imagine what Africa needs. So, but yeah, we need awareness as much as possible. I'm happy to talk to whoever wants to talk to us and want to help us, but we need all the help we can get from people in regards to that. We want to really do the first project because, again, it's a new project for us, but we have everything planned out.
Yeah.
We want to get the first project done, have a very good foundation and start building around that moving forward.
Yeah.
Zikki wants to add to that.
Yeah, no, and additionally, we try to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah.
So on the website, we'll be showing progress of the
Yes.
things that we're doing.
Yes.
We'll be providing updates in terms of reports
Yeah.
from the ground. Hopefully, whenever possible, when you're doing some of these launches, we'll be on the ground, doing it with the folks who are going to be benefiting. And the goal here, again, is sustainability. So
Yeah.
it's one thing to do the project. And as Tunji said, you don't want to go dig a well that, someone will destroy in a couple months, or the water will, not be sustainable for the community. We want projects that will be sustainable over the years. So this community will truly benefit. So you'll see that a lot in the coming years as we take on these projects. With any donations, we want to take that as far as we can. So we'll also be very frugal, very responsible with how we're spending the money, who we're working with, who we're partnering with. Based on a lot of experiences, example for us working in Kenya, there's a lot of things that we've seen that we can help improve. So we're using that experience to then drive Just Help Africa as far as possible in the most transparent way possible.
Yeah. And if I can quickly touch
Please.
on that.
Yeah.
So the first project, like he said, I'm going to be there on the first project, opening up everything. We're going to take videos. We're going to take a bunch of pictures. I want testimonials from the locals on ground to just help tell how what this is going to do for their life moving forward.
Yeah.
We'll document all that stuff and have it on the website for people to see as well. And again, like I said earlier, maybe sometimes in the next 3-4 projects, I would like to take somebody local from here to come with us and help see what we're doing, help tell the story moving forward, kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's amazing. Gentlemen, questions coming in. We'll try to get to as many of these as possible. First, we've never had this many countries in Africa watching the program. This is a testament undoubtedly to you
Africa's
guys.
the future, man.
Africa is representing right here.
Yeah.
Multiple folks are asking, how many languages do you guys each speak?
Well, so we have 3 major languages in Nigeria, but we have over 300 dialects.
Yeah.
Now, I can hear bits and pieces from other languages, but I only speak one, which is Yoruba, plus English. But then I can hear some Hausa, and I can also understand some Igbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I speak 3. So I'm from the Kamba tribe, which is a Bantu tribe in Kenya, and we speak Kamba as our dialect. And then we all speak Swahili, because that's the national language in Kenya and East Africa, and English.
This question's a good one. How have technology advancements helped the challenges in Africa?
So far, it's helped. It's sometimes going to be growing. Again, we are so behind when it comes to technology compared to Europeans.
How so?
Just accessibility as well.
Yeah, and resources too. Like, who's going to afford us?
Who can afford it, But it's getting there. It's just still way behind.
Okay.
But one thing we've noticed, though, is innovation coming from technology.
Yes.
So we're seeing in Africa, where someone gets an old tablet and it's broken to me, they will figure out how to fix it.
It's brand new back home.
Right? And then there's a lot of students who are graduating with degrees in technology that now are being picked up by the likes of Google, Amazon, and so on. There's the ability for now a lot of those folks in Africa to join a session like this because they have the technology in their hands, right? So Africa right now, from a technology perspective, is going to help drive a big change we anticipate over the coming years.
Absolutely.
Driven by technology.
Absolutely.
That's why we always are referring to like Africa is the future, because of the flattening of the world through technology. The opportunities are becoming more available to us. For example, if you have a college degree in Kenya or in Nigeria and you want to take on a management opportunity for a company based in the US, you can apply just like anybody else, but work remotely from Nigeria.
Yeah.
Right? That's an opportunity you could not have in country if you went through the local channels to get a job. That job, too, could pay you way better than you could have gotten. But now it's all enabled by technology. So
Yeah.
there's a ton of opportunities that are coming together thanks to thanks to technology being available to us.
Yeah.
Great take. This question's a great one. Kerry Rock, welcome to the broadcast. We love you. 11 states in America on the heat map right now. How did the pandemic impact Kenya and Nigeria?
So first of all, it shut down schools.
Yeah.
For a couple years there was no school. And that's like 2 years of no school, which means that millions of kids were set back 2 years in terms of how they progress.
Yeah.
That was a huge impact. Number two, also opportunities were lost. So everything from jobs, everything to do with even transportation, getting from place to place. There was curfews. There was a lot of restrictions placed. So there was very little that you could do in terms of just advancing forward as a family, as a community, as a country in Kenya that were broadly interrupted within Kenya. So that was a huge impact on us. But then the recovery too is looking like, promising.
Same thing. I think when the whole pandemic started, just because of my experience, there's no way this is going to hold in Nigeria or in Africa, because people like when people go out of their house sometimes, like this very, very rural people, they don't have a destination of where they're going to go get something to feed their family. They're just going out because they have to get out of the house to go find something. So when I was like, there's no way people are staying in. But people had to, because the government were flogging people. There was a curfew.
Yeah.
If you stay past that time and you get caught, you get flogged. So that again, schools were shut down. People had to retake those classes and that year and all that. So many businesses were shut down. One thing though, I didn't see too many deaths like we saw all over Europe and here. It was mainly on the infrastructure, businesses, schools.
That was the biggest impact.
That was the biggest impact. So many businesses, so many local small businesses were just shut down. Yeah. I couldn't even imagine how people survive, because there's a family that has a very small shop. They're selling grains, and they only have one big container where they sell this grain. And if that's not happening, and that's how they feed their family, if they don't have that, then what? Because nobody's coming to buy. Nobody has the money. Nobody can get a job to have the money to buy the goods.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest impact, I'll say. It was rough.
This is a great question. This is from Grayson watching the program in Short Pump. What advice would Zikki and Tunji offer their 10-year-old selves? Now with the benefit of experience, he means, knowing what you guys know now.
Yeah.
Every day you wake up, be thankful. Don't take anything for granted. You're lucky, you're privileged. That's great. Have fun with it. But and when you grow older, make it a point to go visit the other side of the world, because it will help you mentally. It will help you mentally just to see things in a different way. I can't wait till the day I take my daughter. I'm going to take her to where I grew up.
Yeah.
She will not believe it. She will never believe I grew up in that area. But that will give her a different perspective.
Yeah.
Everybody that's been to that part of Nigeria or Africa, they come back a different human being. I'll implore everybody to please make it a point, even if it's just 5 days. I think it would change how you think about everything else.
Yeah.
That you do. Yeah. That's what I'll tell you.
I'd say first, don't forget your roots.
Yeah.
Always remember your roots. Always keep your family close. Work hard and remember where you've come from. So if you just keep those going, you go into high school, you go graduate, you go into college if lucky enough, don't forget where you're coming from, because now once you establish yourself, you may want to go and, be the biggest person in the world. You could be this most powerful person, but you've forgotten where you've come from.
That's a very great point. Like, same thing with me. Like, I went through those things, but I'll go back there tomorrow.
Yes.
To help more people.
Yes.
It shaped me. It shaped who I am today. It makes me see things differently.
Yes. We are in a position now to... Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good point, actually.
Yes.
I might not be able to live there because I'm so spoiled now, but I'll go back tomorrow
Yeah.
and be in that area again and give people, inspire people. Like if I can be here, you can also.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely.
I
Roots are
plan on
very,
going
very.
back.
You do?
Yeah, I mean-
With your 10-year-old?
Huh?
With your 10-year-old son?
Oh, we go every
they
year.
go all the time.
We go every year.
That's awesome.
Twice. I mean, we just spent all summer there.
That's awesome.
You know, and he's doing archery. You know, he's got his goats, he's got his chicken.
Awesome.
You know, he speaks at the school 2 kilometers away from our farm to empower high school girls to have the confidence to speak up. You know, like he's got that kind of like
He's a leader.
he's got a presence.
Yeah.
You know, so as a 10-year-old, I think he's more advanced. You know, he gets things in a very mature way. But then, you know, for me, when I was a 10-year-old, I was still kind of, you know, trying to jump off ramps with my bike.
Yeah,
You know?
right?
You know,
Being a 10-year-old.
yeah, I was being a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
But then if someone told me that, you know, someone gives me the advice that we now give our sons as, you know, their parents and mentors and people who've experienced life in the way that we have, you know, understanding where you're coming from, to know where you're going, and then when you get there, knowing what to give back is very powerful.
Yeah.
Love it. This question from Kelsey, who's watching, I believe you're watching in Charlotte, North Carolina, Kelsey. She says, fantastic interview, Jerry. Please ask your guests the most challenging aspects of transitioning to the States and the most challenging aspects of transitioning to the University of Virginia. I myself have been 2006 UVA grad, and she does hashtag Wahoo Wah.
Wahoo.
So me coming in and going to high school first kind of helped me before I went to college,
Yeah.
right? Because I mean, like I said, everything was a shock to me when I came, you know. So, but again, my mom used to tell me this when I was a very, very young kid. Like, people are people.
Yeah.
Green, yellow, wherever you are, people are people. And be nice to people, be kind to people. See people, you say hi to them, you know. So I've always carried that everywhere I went with me. But again, if you're coming from a different environment like Africa and where I came from, the adjustments are, a foodie like me was a food. I mean, we didn't have anything back home, but I was eating some terrible food when I got here. I was like, you know what, I'm going back home.
Yeah.
I'll go eat once a day, but I know it's a good food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, it's just getting adjustments. Like, okay, my mom taught me how to cook. Okay, let's just find a store that sells African ingredients, and I can just cook this up myself. You know, so I think it's just adjusting to the people, to the culture, to the language.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have an accent, but when I first came,
It was strong.
It was strong. I mean, and then you can't take things too personal. Because I mean, kids are always going to be kids. I had kids when I was in high school. They just made fun of us when we first came. You know.
Well, it didn't also
You know,
it didn't also
yeah.
hurt that you could have beat them up if you really
Yeah,
wanted
exactly. And then when I was
you would have crushed them.
when I was in high school, people. I mean, I smile a lot, but they tell me if I don't smile that I look very, very mean. So to those kind of kids, all I have to do is just stop smiling.
eases that tension.
You know?
Well, dude, you're so easygoing.
Um,
You're very approachable.
Yeah, I think it's just getting adjusted to, like, if you just believe, like my mom told me, people are going to be people. Now, there's going to be bad and good people. You know, find good people, be kind to them, be nice to them, be respectful to them, and you can adjust anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it will take some time, but if you have those backgrounds, you know, people are just the same as you are, no matter what they have, you know, respect them and adjust to their culture.
Yeah.
You can live anywhere.
Same one for you.
Yeah,
About
discipline.
discipline.
So when I came from
Yeah.
Kenya, I came from, you know, having family around me, always spending time with folks. In Kenya, we enjoy ourselves a lot, so, you know, going out all the time. And I came to America where I had to now adjust to being a student. And within the first semester, I dropped out of college. I was like, I can't do this because there's just so much going on. Everybody wants to do something. I'm not really making it to class. I didn't have that discipline. So lucky for me, I joined the military. So I served in the U.S. Army. And when I finished my service, I had the GI Bill, and I had spoken to several folks in the military who encouraged me to go back to school. And I had discipline and I had structure. So when I did go back to school, now I knew exactly what I needed to do. And because of it, I was able to finish my undergrad, and I was able to finish a master's degree, and I was able then to get into the white-collar world, you know, of, you know, employment, and also now starting to understand things like philanthropy and giving back. So discipline for me was a big deal, because if I never had that opportunity to join the military, I could almost guarantee you that at some point I'd have to go back to Kenya, or I'd be, you know, struggling somewhere trying to make it. but discipline is a key thing that allowed for me to even make it to the University of Virginia. One funny story, well, it's not a funny story, it's actually hard work. When I was at UVA, I was taking a full course load, 16 credit hours. And on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturday nights, driving tractor trailer 14 hours a night. Wow. So I was doing full course load and 42 hours full-time employment through UVA.
Rockstar.
Yeah, so that's the discipline.
Awesome.
That's the discipline that you would need. And UVA is a very intense program.
No doubt.
Yeah, so it took hard discipline. Like you leave class, do your homework, do your assignment. If it's a group project, set the group up to where it fits because they want to work at night, you have to drive. Yeah. So there was a lot in there that had to come together to successfully graduate from UVA for my undergrad.
Fantastic take. Gentlemen, we'll close with some more props from the viewers and listeners. Vanessa Parkhill from Earlysville, so much respect for Tunji's efforts. Seems he was born with gifts that he worked hard to make the most of. Some people never challenge themselves to make the most of their gifts. It had to take so much courage for him to pursue the opportunities as a young man. His desire to share what he's earned with others is something that should be absolutely commended. Thank you, Vanessa, for that comment. Robert Gray, the sharpshooter, welcome to the program. We love you, Rob Gray. J.R. Hadley watching the show right here. We love you, J.R., and thank you for your help with setting up this interview, sir. Close on this. I try, especially as a dad, we got a 4.5-year-old, my wife and I, and number 2 due around Thanksgiving. I'm really trying to showcase, the trials and tribulations of parenthood. Describe parenthood on the show as like the best, hardest thing ever and the longest, shortest thing ever. Like the days feel like years, but then you're like, please stop growing. How are you 4.5?
Mm-hmm.
I love to highlight your mom and how proud she is of you.
Yeah.
Your daughter and how much she loves you, and the feelings that you will maybe experience when your daughter gets to meet your mom. Put that in perspective. Let's close with that one.
Oh my God, it would be incredible because the last time she saw Zara was when she was a baby. So Zara don't even know. I mean, we get on the phone and we talk every now and then now, So I'm trying to get her here. COVID has been tough with COVID to get appointments at the embassy, but I'm working on it. I think it will make so much sense. It would be something I have to sit back and take a video of as well.
Yeah.
To see, because I mean, these people live in different continents. They talk on the phone. That's grandma, but they've never really talked.
Right.
In person.
So it would be something I have to experience myself, and I can't wait for that day to happen. And then see, because Zara's very shy at first. Even though it's grandma, they've never. So I think when that happens, I want to see how it grows the next day. Day after that. And how they become born. It will happen, but it probably won't happen right away because of the kind of people they are, both of them. But I can't wait. I really cannot wait.
It's going to be so special. Close, please, with the who, what, when, where, why, one more time, of just how we can support, donate, website, what you need. The show is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man, for this time. We created Just Help. What it says is what we want to do. We just want to help a little bit. Help give these families, these students, these young kids some kind of hope in their life journey. Our goal is because we cannot help everybody, but I think one thing we can really do that can go a long way and have effect in people's life is water. Everybody needs water. If you can get clean, drinkable, safe water, that would take so much out of the daily struggles for most families. Secondly, it will help eliminate the cholera disease that I've experienced so many times growing up. And thirdly, we'll be going through locals just to help each area with the economy that way. So check us out on justhelpafrica.org. Everything you need to know is on that website. There's a donate button on there as well. Our plan is to do the first project either by the end of this year or early next year. So we are really gearing up for that right now. But check us out. Help us spread the word. Help us help people. A little here goes a very, very long way back home.
That's right. Fantastic presentation. Guys, this interview was phenomenal. Undoubtedly one of the best ones we've ever done. For those that are asking, we will archive the show in totality on ilovecville.com. Every social media platform is airing it, and wherever you get your podcasts. You see what we're trying to do here. We try to showcase the best of Charlottesville and Central Virginia and the people in the community doing positive things. We love to champion folks, the underdogs in this community as well, and we love to shine a light on areas that need attention. It's the whole concept of this. Social media used for the good. Judah Wickhauer's our director. He is the man. Your father, Jim, watching the program, giving you props, Judah. Zikki and Tunji, when you see them around town, stop them, give them props, support them, donate, help, spread the word. And I'm truly grateful for folks all over the world watching us today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
The Thursday edition of the program, guys. Thank you kindly for joining us. Take care, everyone. Tell us when the mics are off, gentlemen.